All right. Okay. All right. Where are we at? Where are we at? We are 3 minutes away. So in the meantime, kind of look at what different time frames are showing. So we're on an uptrend on an hourly chart. Tapping into a pivot point. All right. Kind of took out these internal lows, trying to push back up. Nothing really. We are taking out let me see. Yeah, pre-market highs. Pre-market highs got taken out. Ripping to the upside. Big 15-minute candle, pretty much bouncing off of view op. All right, let me check news-wise. Let me check news. What do we have today for news? Make sure I got that down. All right, no news today, so we'll see how that plays out. That's good. All right, we got 1 minute left till this. I think the range is pretty much set, unless something crazy happens. All right, 30 seconds. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and just mark out that high already. Go ahead and mark out that high. Now that low. All right, there's the range. Oh, let me check. Do I? Give me a second. Oh, okay, good. All right, we'll see kind of what happens here. Holding this pivot point as of now. Trying to push up, possibly come down here and take out these lows, maybe. Bounce off the pivot point again. A lot of longs get trapped below there. We've taken out pre-market highs now, so Seeing if it's gonna hold this this 200 in view up here. The big support level, but all right. The buyers aren't really stepping in here. Again, we don't have any news today, so that's something got to keep in mind in terms of price action. Pretty much waiting to see what direction this thing closes out of. Seeing if we could get an opportunity here. Oh, don't. Hopefully we don't get some chop here. Alright, trying to push down. Alright, well, we have this chop here. I'll be back in a second. Give me a second. Alright, this price looks like it wants to go for those lows again. We're not getting the buying pressure stepping in here. So can't hold this in balance here. So it looks like they're going to take it for those lows. We're right above view op. Seeing if it can break through view op here. There it goes. Seller stepping in. Buyers trying to reclaim view op, but we'll see. Pretty much, I would need a candle close outside this line right here. Come on. And you can kind of see what's going on higher time frames. If we go to, say, like a 15-minute chart, right? We do have those lows down there we could take out, which would be nice. Taking out those lows. Hourly chart, same thing. We have a pivot point right there. So if we can kind of come down here, take out those lows, kind of bounce off this pivot point and possibly start getting a move back on up. We still have the high up there. We took out pre-market highs, but you can see there is a high up there that hasn't got taken out. So we'll see what happens there. Dang, hold on. Whoa, okay. All right. All right. 10 seconds. We'll take out pre-market lows. Yeah, possibly. I could definitely. Looks like it's what it wants to do. We'll see though. It hasn't closed yet below this range. Actually, hold up. That's a. I mean, pre-market lows, that's a long ways away. We got pre-market lows down at, 25,700 area, which is, it's way down there. So that's like way down here. So, possibly. We'll see. Buyers took out that low, and now we're trying to step back in, but I trade on Ninja Trader. Oh, come on, NASDAQ. Ugh. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, just going to be patient and see if we get a setup. My job is to come in and just wait. If I get a setup, I take it. If not, I walk away. It is what it is, I know I say that all the time, but I kind of live stream just to pass, to make it a little more interesting, so I'm not just sitting here on freaking social media just scrolling. You do this for a living? I mean, I trade full time every single day, but it's not my, I have other things I do, and that's one thing that's why I recommend, for other people, have other things you do. I don't think trading should ever be your only thing you do. Like, have other things, and it does. Doing other things helps out a lot, because, like, for me, for example, I'm waiting here for a setup. If price starts moving away and, like, I can kind of see that I'm not going to get a setup, I just walk away, because I got other things to do. I don't need to sit here all day and try to, scalp every little move, and, like, I got other work I got to get done. So I'm not tempted to sit here and trade all day. What else do you do? No, I buy and sell cars. I'm a dealer. I buy wrecked cars from insurance companies, and then I resell them. I fix them and resell them. Yeah, and I pretty much do that by myself. Like, I don't have any employees. I pretty much, as of now, I just do everything myself. I'm the mechanic. I'm the freaking accountant. I need to learn. I hate my job. Find something you like to do. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much stuff out there that you can do that's, that'll give you, like, an enjoyment, a satisfaction. Like, one reason I like to work on cars, you do get like for me, right? I get the satisfaction of being able to get a car that's, say, wrecked, you fix it, and then you have the finished product, and everything's nice, and the car runs good, it's good, and you get this, like, satisfaction of being able to, get a car, fix it, and then being able to sell it for a good deal and offer somebody a good deal. So it's a win-win, right? You provide a value to society, and by selling a nice, good, cheap car, and it's a win-win. I get satisfaction from, obviously I make money from it. And it's a fun, to me it's a fun process. But it's like playing with Legos. Kids play with Legos. It's pretty much adult Legos. You put a car together. Day trading. Day trading is just what I do in the morning. It's just what I do, every morning from 9:30 to like 11 o'clock. And then after 11, it's, after 11, I go eat. And then, I come back and I start working on cars or doing whatever I need to do. All right, we're closing outside this range. Here's the first candle close. See what happens here. Being able to be auto mechanic is a life skill most people will never have, just like yeah. I mean, it's something that you kind of learn along the way. It's just like trading. Right? That's any industry, whether you're a welder, whether you're an engineer or a mechanic or whatever you are, right? It takes experience to build that skill. Same thing with trading. It takes experience to build the skill necessary. You can't just come into this industry and expect to just like, make a lot of money and just be banking. It takes a lot of skill and patience and learning from your mistakes. Patience is the biggest thing. Patience is something that will either make or break a trader, especially in this industry, and even in the auto industry too, right? If you don't have patience, that a 30-minute job can turn into a whole day ordeal, right? If you're angry and you start breaking stuff, you're one broken bolt away from a you're one broken bolt or part away from a whole day ordeal. And that's because if you don't have patience and you start trying to force things off, like when you're working on a car, you start trying to force things off instead of being patient and figure out how it comes off. You start breaking stuff, not good. Same thing in trading. If you start trying to force trades, not good. You're gonna end up, there's a certain process, like in cars, there's a certain process you have to follow to take something off, right? And if you don't follow that process, you're gonna break it. Same thing with trading. There's a certain process you have to follow based on the data you have, based on the rules you set forth for yourself. If you don't follow your rules and your process, you're going to get burned. You may get rewarded here and there, but in the long run, it ain't going to work out too well. You teach just on live. I don't sell any courses, no Discord. I don't do any of that. I don't need your money. Didn't follow my rules today and lost over 1K. Yeah, I mean, it gets to a point where it's like that sort of thing happens over and over again, and then eventually you'll get like sick of not following your rules and just losing. You'll get sick of it to the point where you just like naturally you're just, all right, I'm just gonna follow my rules. It is what it is. And you do get, depending on how long you've been trading too. A lot of beginners traders have this like itch to take a trade, right? I had it. When I started trading, I felt like, man, I was so freaking excited to trade that I was excited to come in and just like market would open. The first 5 minutes, I'd be getting long. I'd be pushing up and I'd be trying to get long. And then just like, I'd be taking, a bunch of trades per day. And I just kind of, over time, you just kind of get sick of it and you're just kind of like, you pretty much just, it's like a job, right? You just follow your process. That's it. You follow data that you've back tested, that you know it works, and that's all you could do. Just trying to pass my funded. Yeah, I mean, I would say sticking to rules. And here's the thing. Here's why also you have to have rules. Like, what a lot of people try to do with like an evaluation account to get to a funded account. What a lot of people try to do is they try to like go super heavy on a trade, and then they'll pass it in like 1 or 2 trades because they got lucky, and then they'll get put in a funded. But it's like if you're just getting there without any rules, like what makes you think that you're gonna keep that account? And that's kind of like why, like for these accounts that I have here, right? There was a specific strategy that I followed in order to pass those accounts. I followed that strategy, I passed the accounts, and so now I'm in a spot where I'm like, I just have to keep doing what I did to pass those accounts. I don't need to change anything. As long as I keep doing what I did, you know, I'll be fine. I was so busy trying to force a break of structure, lost 509. Yeah, you can't force the market to do, you know, that's kind of like, you gotta allow, this is why I'm big on having something in your trading system as like confirmation, whatever that is. I mean, people use bookmap, people use order flow, people use volume profile, something, right, that gives you confirmation for your trade. Not just trying to hop in, anticipating the move, but waiting for the confirmation to then get in when you see the move actually happening. I know it sounds easier said than done. I know that. But it's like, you know, people use, for example, people use bookmap or volume profile where they see buyers starting to really step in at a certain level, or a buying order get absorbed, like something that you can actually do, that you've back tested, where you've seen it works. And then that's another thing, right? You have your data, you need to always be constantly trying to improve, whether it's through, you know, back testing or your losses, trying to figure out when you lose a trade, trying to figure out if you could have done something better. It's a continual improvement process. That's the difficult part about trading. You can have a very systematic process, but there will be times where you need to make adjustments to your process. That's the hard part, where certain market conditions give you really good opportunities, and then other market conditions don't give you such good opportunities. And the question is, everybody can trade when the market's giving them perfect opportunities for their setup and they're making money left and right. But here's the question: when the market doesn't give you the opportunities and you start losing money, are you just going to blow your account? All right, I'm looking for it to really start seeing if it could start really uptrending here. If we could start getting like this structure here and we could start breaking out and form a bullish imbalance back inside this range, I would be interested in a long, if we can get that. If not, then there's nothing for me. But as of now, trying to see if buyers can start stepping in here, trying to push it above UOP, get an imbalance right above UOP, and then that kind of confirms to me that buying pressure stepping in aggressive. We could go for like these highs up here, because we're right below VWAP. So you don't trade Asia or London? No, I don't. I just trade New York. Order flow changed my life. Yeah, order flow is big. I mean, depending on how you watch order flow, whether you watch it on a footprint chart or maybe some people use bookmap. I kind of myself, I mean, I just look for confirmations on the chart, meaning I can kind of see, like, if buyers, that's why I say if buyers right now start pushing aggressively back inside this range and leave a gap, to me that's a pretty good sign in order flow that we could continue, you know, pushing to the next level, which is up here. But as of now, we're still below. They're not confirming that. Bookmap turns your trading into reactionary based framework rather than predicting. Okay, yeah, I know other people that, I use Bookmap. I mean, maybe I'll try to do it. Maybe I should try to get Bookmap again. I used to have it for another strategy, not this strategy I use. A long time ago when I was trading something else, I had Bookmap, and it wasn't really working too well for me with the other strategy. But maybe this strategy, if I can kind of, you know, maybe somehow incorporate it so it can help me. The thing about it is you don't want to add stuff to your trading that's going to hinder you in a sense, right? Like give you analysis paralysis or something that's going to, you know, prevent you from taking a trade even though maybe it was a winning trade, but you were scared of taking it because something you saw on Bookmap. But yeah, Bookmap is a pretty good tool to try to use, somehow incorporate, to be able to see those levels. We're still kind of... Oh, man. You see buyers and sellers in the limit orders real time. It gets better. Yeah. Yeah, you could see where all the levels are, and I guess it does help you even if you're in a trade, right? If you're in a trade and you see a fat level of orders up in a certain level, then you can front run them, right? You can take profits before it hits that level because you know it's going to probably have some trouble maybe getting through that level if there's a massive level sitting somewhere. So you don't want your order sitting above their orders because then, you know, it could fill them and then reject, and then you're caught holding the dump. And then if you see that big level, you're like, all right, let me put my order right in front of theirs. So my order is like the first order to get filled. All right, we're at that 10 o'clock mark. Let's see if we get buyers start to step in. A lot of times this 10 o'clock, we get some buying pressure start to try to step in at 10 a.m. here. Let me check something. All right, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was gonna say, give me a second, let me look it up. So take Profit Trader for those who are interested. They're extending their sale. So they extended their special 100% refund sale. 30% off evals, never pay an activation fee, then get 100% first month test refunds. So, which means if you were to pass without a reset or rebill and then take a withdrawal, you'd be essentially getting a pro account for $0. So you end up getting your account refunded once you take the payout, and pretty cool. All right, we gotta do something here, NASDAQ. Seeing if we get buyers start to step in here. All right, is this it right here? All right, buyers stepping in. But we got to get through that view op. We got to get through view op. We're tapping view op right now. pretty much where the low of the 5-minute range is view op. So gotta make sure this isn't just a sweep. Come on. Come on. It's having some trouble getting through view op. Let me see. I think someone's here. Hold on. Give me a second. All right. Man, sucks. We're not getting those buyers starting to step in. Buyers can't step in, sellers take over. Oh gosh, no, come on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Kind of choppy here, but how do I prevent getting flagged as a pattern trader? You're talking about for like stocks or options or you're talking about the PDT rule where you have to have 25. That's not in futures. That's in options and stocks. Futures doesn't have PDT. That's only in stock or options. If you are still talking about, so for like options, you can, there's ways to work around it with options. Because from what I remember, I don't trade options anymore. I haven't traded in a long time. From what I remember when I used to trade options was it would, like, if I would take a trade today, then my account, I would be able to use that money tomorrow. So I can take a trade pretty much every day versus only like 3 times a week. But yeah, futures does not have the PDT rule. That's only for the stock market and like options and. I heard they're trying to get rid of that. Is options good to trade? It's good, but it's more. I think it's more difficult because options you have time decay versus like futures you don't have time decay. So options, it's like you can get into a good trade, and if that trade goes sideways before it goes to your TP, if you don't get the right contracts, you can get time decay and you could still lose money even though you technically, like, you know, because of that time decay with the contracts, depending on what contracts you get. So you can, there are people who trade options successfully, but I like, me personally, I like futures. I don't see a reason to, especially with prop firms right now, with all these prop firms and even if I had to, like, if when I go to when I start my live account, I'm gonna be doing with futures. I'm not gonna go to options or anything. Gosh, we cannot get through this freaking. We need to get through this. Having so much trouble. I just can't get through that level. Man, looks like we want to go lower. These buyers aren't stepping in. You can see those drops are super aggressive. Or maybe they're just loading up, I don't know, to push it higher. Oh man. It's like just sideways. It's not going lower, not going higher. I needed, for me to be interested in this, I needed to get above. I needed to get up here and then pretty much leave an imbalance. So really aggressively push back into the range. Kind of what I'm looking for is for this to really aggressively push back into the range and, you know, give me a setup to go for these highs up here. All right, going for those lows again. Man. Do you think it's going to go up? I have no idea. I just react off of what price it does based on what I want it to see. I have no idea if this thing is going to want to go down, go up. I mean, nobody knows. That's the thing. And if a trader tells you they know, it's all BS. They don't know. All you could do as a trader is wait for price to do something, then react when it does it. we're still below view op, so we're kind of in bearish territory right now. So that's why it's kind of like, you know, it's having trouble. It's just rejecting off the view op. Once we get above that view op, it's in bullish territory. So all I could wait is for price to do what I want it to do, right? If it does not do what I want it to do, then I don't take the trade. Man, come on, NASDAQ. Why are you so slow? Golly, bro. This is snail action. It'd be funny if it just comes down here, takes out this low one more time, and then rips back up. Is that what they're going to do? It's very slow. There's no news today. Today's a bank holiday? It's not a bank holiday. Is today? There's no bank holiday today, is there? No way. I know there's no news. Oh, for Europe. Oh, okay. That doesn't matter for... That don't matter for US, though. It's just there's no news today. I mean, there's no news, so price tends to move like this when there's no news. That does happen. If you traded, you know that this is possible when there's no news. So you kind of expect it, kind of. Sometimes it still moves good. That's the weird thing. Sometimes it moves good, but then sometimes during no news, it has this kind of crap where it's just like, it'll get a move to one direction for a little bit, and then it'll just go sideways. All right, took out the low one more time. Let's see what happens here. A bunch of people just got stopped out from trying to long, possibly. No trades so far. Yeah, see if we could get a reaction off of here. Buyers start stepping back in. No trades so far, man. See, buyers just don't have it in them to... They're not, aggressive enough. You could kind of see selling pressure. Look at you. You know, like, you kind of don't even have to have like order flow charts or anything. You could see based off the candles. Look what happened here when we got to push up. Aggressive selling pressure. We pushed up. We took out this low. We took out this high up here. Aggressive selling pressure. So you can see sellers are stepping in very aggressively. And like buyers just don't have it in them to really push this up. Could still happen. I mean, I hope it happens. But as of now, nothing. Yeah, it needs more buying pressure. I mean, I understand, like, from one sense, I understand why there's not much buying pressure stepping in, you know, once we get here, because, I mean, let's face it, we're at view op, so it's kind of like, who's trying to continue buying through view op, right? Probably a lot of profit taking going on around view op. So that's why you get this like kind of choppiness. You get a lot of just prices very balanced near view op. And then once we start getting away from view op, you see price start to kind of get more, you know, starts to accelerate to one direction, or I'm stuck on this trade real bad. What do you mean you're stuck? You got into a trade during chop? Man, this barcode structure. Yeah, this sucks. Got in the trade from the top thinking it was going up. Yeah, that's why I say you gotta wait for confirmations. My confirmation was, I said it before, I also wanted to get long, but my confirmation was I needed price to, when it closed outside here, I wanted to close back inside the range, right? This first 5 minutes right here has like, you know, 20%, 20 to 30% of the day's volume is traded in that 5 minute range. So that's why I wanted to see price break back inside this 5 minute range with strength, possibly an imbalance there. And then once it breaks back inside this range, leaving behind an imbalance in the range, that kind of gives me a confirmation that buyers are really aggressive to the point where they left an imbalance. And so I'm wanting to possibly get off that imbalance for a continuation up. But I'm waiting for that confirmation. As long as it stays outside of this range here, there's nothing for me to do. I'm not trying to guess, because this could easily do this, or it could continue going down. So and pay attention to view op, right? If you're longing here, you understand also the areas where it was rejecting here, it was rejecting from view op. We have view op right there. So view op is a very tough level to get through. It's a hard area to get through, so don't, you know, be very careful if you're in a trade expecting price to break view op and continue moving. Could it? Yes, it could. It does it. But there's also a big chance we could get selling pressure starting to step in from view op. So that's something it's always good to be aware of. It's the second time they're taking out this low. What if they're just building? What if they're just trapping people to load up on a position to take it higher? I could see institutions doing that, right? Think about it. If you were trying to get into a massive position, wouldn't you want to do that? Like, right? You kind of push it lower. You know, a lot of people are getting stopped out here. While they're getting stopped out, you're buying, right? Same thing. You're pushing it a little higher. More people thinking that it's going up. They're putting their stops down there. Right? You're pushing it back down. You're loading up onto more positions, right? Because think about it. When you're buying a crazy, massive position, you can't just buy like we buy, right? Like you could just get in fully in your trade at one level, right? You kind of have to scale into a position when you're buying, tens of millions, possibly, hundreds of millions. You have to scale into a position. And I could see them doing that. I could really see them, taking out lows to try to, because they know a lot of people are at that level, so they're kind of trying to scale into a position. I'm not saying that's what they're doing here. I'm saying that I could see them doing that to get the best, you get the best fills, because you're getting it at a low instead of aggressively getting in and then them getting all this slippage and then they end up getting filled all the way up here. So it's a horrible fill. Beginner's nightmare. It does. I mean, yeah, it's a part of trading. You know how many times I've gotten stopped out and it ran straight to my TP after stopping out? It does happen. I mean, that's just the part of trading that you deal with. One thing you can't do is take away your stop loss because, they're just going to sweep it and then go and I'm going to take my stop loss away. You can you can move your stop loss a little higher to allow for that sweep if it's going to happen. But one thing you don't do is remove your stop loss, because then that's going to hurt. All those times where it continues going and it doesn't sweep it and you get burned, it's not worth it. I would rather just, get stopped out and then run to my TP than break my rules and eventually blow up my account because I took away my stop loss. Why didn't you take a short? Yeah, so yesterday I was kind of back testing another strategy. So I was trying to figure out this type of strategy where we get these continuations below the range, because I've been seeing that happen a lot recently in this kind of price action. So I was back testing some other strategies that didn't really work. I have to back test this one right here. So yeah, you could have, right? This was technically a good short opportunity right here when we got this massive candle that displaced below that 5-minute range. And right, as long as we stay below this 5-minute range, you're good for a short. Especially it left this imbalance. So maybe I should have the same kind of setup for the opposite, right? Because what I look for in this setup that I'm using right now, what I was looking for was a displacement below, push back into the range, form an imbalance, kind of tap off that imbalance to continue moving up. So I gotta backtest the opposite of that, where it displaces below, leaves an imbalance outside of the range, possibly comes back in, fills that imbalance, taps off the 5-minute range, and then kind of goes for that low again. Not a bad trade. And you can kind of have your stop loss just possibly above this candle up here, just in case it kind of starts pushing back into the range, then you kind of get out of that trade. But it gives you a pretty decent risk to reward ratio for that. So, but again, I just have to back test it. I'm somebody, I do not take trades if I haven't back tested it. Like, even though I see it happen time and time again, I need to back test it to follow a plan. I can't just randomly get into, just because I see something happen yesterday, I'm going to try it today without back testing it. It's not a good idea. So I'll probably try to do it today. Try to back test this kind of setup right here and see how well it works. At least for the past month, Yeah, I'm a big proponent. If you don't know the data behind what you're taking, there's no point of taking it. Because you can take a random trade and make money, but that doesn't mean anything, right? The market's gonna take that money away from you because you don't have data backing up why you made that money. And that's why you get people stuck in this area of, it's honestly funny to see, because they're trading with prop firms or whatever, and I see this a lot where a lot of people are just like, they really don't have much rules, right? They they hype up this like discretionary trading, right? And they use it as a tool. They use it as an excuse to not having a plan. And that's a very dangerous thing. I'm not saying you can't discretionarily trade. You can discretionarily trade only if you have enough market experience. If you're somebody who's been trading for 7 years, yes, you have the ability to trade discretionarily. If you've been trading for 1 or 2 years, you do not have the experience to discretionary trade. You don't. And a lot of people use that as an excuse. They're like, well, I just discretionary trade. And you ask them like, well, how long have you been trading for? Oh, about like about 2 years. So you're telling me you've been trading for only 2 years and you're somehow have all this experience to be able to discretionarily trade? It doesn't work that way. It's a lot of people use it as an excuse for not having a plan. And my thing is, if you don't have a plan, how do you know where you need to fix something? How do you know if you need to change something, if you need to make an adjustment, if you need to do something else different? You don't know because you don't have data behind what you're doing. For me, if I have data behind it, right? Let's just say, and I have sizing down rules based on my data. If I have data behind a strategy and I know for the past, 3-4 months, I haven't taken more than, say, 3 losses in a row, and I'm like, I know the data behind it. So if I take a loss, I analyze that loss, see if I could have done something, maybe avoided that loss somehow, right? And if I could, I try to implement it in future trades. If I hit a 3 trade and I hit that 4th losing trade, that's new data. I've never taken 4 losses in a row. I have to scale back. I have to size down, try to slowly make back some, take some base hits, get some confidence back, make some money, make those adjustments. And then when I can, I start sizing up again. That's what, good trading is. I do the opposite of what every single other person does. When they go into drawdown, they start sizing up to try to make back their money. I do the complete opposite. If I go into drawdown, I start sizing down to protect myself. And then, yes, it does set you back. People are like, well, that sets you back because now you need to make back, kind of 4 losses to get back to where you were. Yes, it does suck. It does suck to size down, but it's a way of protecting yourself. It's not to hinder you. It's to protect your account, because what's going to break you is if you blow up your account. Now you have to do an evaluation all over again, and you have to go through all this process if you would have just sized down, protected yourself, and then, caught some base hits, slowly caught a couple winning trades, and then sized back up, you would be in a way better spot. You almost gotta just look at what everyone else is doing. You almost gotta view all the social media content you see and people giving you certain, most people are unprofitable. So if most people are giving you the same type of advice, probably, do the opposite. And the way I trade, and it's like I can come in multiple days without taking a trade, and it does suck. It's hard because it's like I view it as a job. The only reason I live stream is just kind of to pass time by. Either I would be live streaming right now, or I would just I would be sitting on TikTok, or to live streaming does help me, because it's not good when you're sitting there waiting for a trade and you're kind of just sitting on scrolling through social media. It's good to be watching price action and seeing what it does and watching it in real time. So it does help me, but it's it does suck to have a strategy that I don't get a trade every single day. Trust me, I would love to have a trade every single day. I wish I can just come in and just get a setup every single day, but sadly that doesn't happen. So I can be patient if it doesn't happen. That's why I'm trying to build this other strategy to have on different accounts, so I kind of can get another setup for these kind of continuation plays. So either, price breaks back into the range, and I get a setup for the upside of in the range kind of setup, or it breaks outside of this range, hold this range as resistance, or if we're up top as support, and then I can kind of play that too as a as a trade too. So I can kind of get a trade either on this setup or this setup. So that's kind of what but again, I have to do the back testing behind it more. I did a little bit yesterday, but it wasn't, you know, enough to. But, all right, we're kind of displacing below now. We're kind of just trending lower. I'm going to hop off. I got other things I got to do. I'm not going to get a setup for this account, so I'm just going to hop off and come back tomorrow. Where do you find your news for futures? It's Forex Factory. If you go on Forex Factory, you'll see all the news coming up and everything. So, all right, I'm gonna hop off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I got a lot of things I gotta do today, man. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't overtrade. Stay safe. Don't blow your accounts. Be patient. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.